Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And oh boy, do we have a fascinating one for you today?
Yeah, this one is really interesting.
We're talking all about AI and specifically some of the new stuff coming out of China that you listeners have sent to us.
Yeah, it seems like everywhere you turn these days, AI is the hot topic.
Yeah.
Some people think that it's hit a plateau,
Right.
and others are saying that we are on the fast track to, like, super intelligence.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
and right in the middle of all this debate, China comes out and unveils this new AI model called DeepSeek R1.
Yeah, and this has gotten a lot of attention
Mm-hmm.
because it's going head-to-head with OpenAI's model,
Mm-hmm.
but with a pretty key difference.
Okay.
DeepSeek is open source.
Wow. So anyone can use it.
Anyone can access it and modify it and use it.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And you know what else is wild?
What's that?
The timing of all of this.
Okay.
So DeepSeek R1 drops literally the same day that Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is attending the inauguration of President Trump.
That's interesting.
I mean, come on, that's like a scene right out of a movie or something.
It definitely adds like another layer to this whole AI development saga.
Yeah.
But, putting the coincidence aside for a second,
Right.
let's actually talk about what this new model brings to the table.
Yeah, because it's not just about the timing. It seems like DeepSeek R1 is performing really, really well, like even exceeding OpenAI's model in some areas.
Yeah, there have been reports that it is matching or exceeding it in things like math and software engineering.
So are we like seriously witnessing the rise of a new AI powerhouse here?
Well, we do have to be careful and look closely at how these models are being evaluated.
Right.
Remember what happened with Epic AI?
Oh, yeah, you're talking about how they were actually being funded by OpenAI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder, should we be taking those benchmark results at face value?
For sure. Well, so, okay, let's say someone wants to actually try out DeepSeek R1. What are their options?
Well, the developers have actually made it very accessible.
Okay.
There's a user-friendly web interface,
Oh.
but you can also download it and run it locally using tools like Llama.
So you can either just kind of dive right in or really tinker under the hood, huh?
Exactly.
I like that. And it looks like they have all these different sizes of the model available, too.
You can go from a 7 billion parameter version
Oh, wow.
all the way up to a massive 671 billion parameter version.
Oh, my gosh. It's like picking the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
Okay, so speaking of tools, how does this one learn? Because I'm reading here, DeepSeek R1 uses something called direct reinforcement learning.
Uh-huh.
Can you explain that to those of us who are not AI experts?
Sure. So imagine, teaching a dog a new trick.
Okay.
Instead of, like, giving the dog explicit step-by-step instructions,
Right.
you give it rewards for getting closer and closer to what you want it to do.
Okay.
So similarly, DeepSeek R1,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't get spoon-fed information.
Right.
Instead, it figures things out through trial and error.
Okay.
It learns from the feedback.
So it's kind of like developing its own problem-solving strategies in a way?
Yeah.
Huh. That's fascinating. And that seems so much more human-like compared to like traditional AI training models.
Yeah, and that's what's really exciting about this.
Yeah. So when would you choose to use DeepSeek R1 over some of these other models we've been talking about?
Yeah, that's a good question. DeepSeek R1 really shines when you need to tackle tasks that require what we call chain of thought reasoning.
Correct.
So think of it like, solving a complex puzzle.
Okay.
DeepSeek R1 wouldn't just like give you the final picture.
Right.
It would actually show you each piece that it connects and explain why it's making those connections.
Oh, so it's not just about getting to the right answer. It's
It-
about understanding the process.
Yeah, it's like, having a detective explain their whole deduction process.
Oh, okay.
Like, how did they connect all the dots to crack the case?
I see. Okay. Well, I got the Llama interface fired up earlier,
Oh, cool.
and I gave DeepSeek R1 a little math problem to solve just to kind of see this in action.
Oh, I'm curious to hear how it went.
Yeah.
What did you give it?
Well, I kept it pretty simple.
Okay.
Imagine a train traveling at 60 miles per hour.
Okay.
That needs to cover a distance of 300 miles.
Okay.
The question is, how long does it take to reach its destination?
A classic time distance problem.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm guessing you can probably guess what happened.
I'm assuming DeepSeek R1 didn't disappoint.
Not at all. It was amazing. It laid out its reasoning so clearly.
Oh, wow.
It started by stating the given information, the train's speed, the distance,
Okay.
and then it actually presented the formula
Yeah.
for calculating travel time.
Okay.
Time equals distance divided by speed.
It's amazing how it can break down a problem into these really, like, digestible
I
steps.
know, right?
I mean, this kind of transparency could be so valuable, like, even in educational settings.
Absolutely. Students could really benefit from seeing how the model arrives at the solution.
Yeah, it's like having a built-in tutor
Right.
that explains every step along the way.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
of course, DeepSeek R1 got the answer right, 5 hours. But what really impressed me was its ability to actually articulate its thought process.
Yeah, it's this chain of thought reasoning that really sets models like DeepSeek R1
Hmm.
apart from, the other ones out there.
For sure.
It makes AI less of a black box
Right.
and more of like a collaborative partner in problem solving.
And that transparency is going to be so crucial as AI becomes, more and more integrated into our lives
Absolutely.
because we need to be able to understand how these models are making decisions.
Especially when those decisions have like real world consequences.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so let's zoom out for a minute.
Okay.
We've got this new player from China, DeepSeek R1. It really feels like it's shaking things up in the AI landscape.
Yeah, it really does. And I think a big part of that is the fact that it's open source.
Right.
It means that this power of AI, it's no longer confined to, these large corporations or research institutions.
It's like the democratization of AI, right?
Exactly.
It's like unlocking this treasure chest of tools and knowledge.
And making it available to anyone who has, the curiosity and the drive to explore.
Imagine like a small startup in a developing country being able to leverage the same cutting edge AI technology as, a tech giant in Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that's the power of open source AI.
It's amazing. It's like leveling the playing field in terms of innovation.
Exactly.
But with all this power suddenly becoming so much more accessible, are there any concerns that come to mind?
Of course. I mean, every powerful tool comes with responsibility.
Right.
As AI becomes more widespread, more sophisticated, we need to think really carefully about, the ethical implications.
Right.
How do we ensure it's used for good?
Right.
How do we prevent bias from creeping into these systems?
These are huge questions, and it seems like we're really just at the beginning of this whole conversation.
We are.
We've talked about DeepSeek R1 and its capabilities, but how might this actually impact our lives?
Yeah.
Like, what does this change for the listener out there?
Well, that's where things get really exciting. With access to these advanced tools becoming more widespread.
Yeah.
We could see this wave of innovation in all sorts of fields.
Okay.
Like imagine small businesses suddenly having access to AI-powered marketing tools
Wow.
they could never afford before.
Right.
Or students benefiting from these personalized AI tutors that adapt to their own learning style.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
It's like giving everyone a superpower.
Right.
But instead of flying or invisibility, it's the power to analyze data, solve complex problems,
Yeah.
even create art and music using AI.
And we are really just scratching the surface of what's possible with AI.
Yeah.
And with these open source models like DeepSeek R1, entering the scene,
Right.
this pace of innovation is only going to accelerate.
It's thrilling and also kind of terrifying at the same time.
It is.
This technology is evolving so rapidly.
It is.
And its impact on our lives is, becoming more and more profound.
Absolutely.
So where do we even go from here?
That's the big question. As AI continues to develop,
Hmm.
what does this mean for the future of work?
Right.
Will it create new opportunities or will it displace jobs? Or maybe even lead to entirely new industries that we can't even imagine yet?
Those are huge questions. Well, we are back, and I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into this DeepSeek R1, this incredible new AI model coming out of China.
It's been quite a journey.
I know, right? We've unpacked its capabilities, its open source nature, and we've even touched on some of the potential impacts it could have on, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, and one of the most fascinating things we talked about was DeepSeek R1's ability to actually solve problems through that chain of thought reasoning.
Yeah.
It's like getting a glimpse into how it actually makes decisions,
Right.
which makes it so much more transparent than other models.
For sure. For sure. And speaking of why, we were discussing before some of the broader implications of this whole AI revolution.
Right.
And it's crazy to think how something like DeepSeek R1 could completely reshape our world.
Absolutely. And the fact that it's open source means that this power of AI, it's not just in the hands of these big companies anymore.
Right.
So imagine the possibilities when individuals, startups, researchers, anyone really
Yeah.
has access to these incredibly powerful tools.
It's like giving everyone a toolbox
Exactly.
filled with these incredible problem-solving gadgets.
Uh-huh.
I mean, who knows what kind of amazing solutions will come from that?
Yeah, like imagine a rural community in Africa developing an AI-powered system for like early disease detection,
Wow.
or a group of students creating an app that translates, complex scientific research into something that anyone can understand.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And the best part is we can't even imagine all the ways this technology will be used.
Right.
That's what's so exciting. It's a blank canvas for human creativity.
It makes you wonder, though, are there any downsides? Could this lead to job displacement as things become more automated?
Right?
Are there ethical concerns that we need to think about?
Absolutely. Those are really important
Sure.
questions. I think it's crucial to approach these advancements with, a sense of responsibility.
For sure.
And think about, retraining programs for people whose jobs might be affected.
Right.
Develop, ethical guidelines for how we develop and use AI.
It's a conversation that needs to start happening now. And
Absolutely.
it can't just be experts. It has to be policymakers, the public. Everyone needs to be involved.
We can't just, sit back and watch this unfold.
Right.
We need to be actively shaping its direction.
So, listener, as we wrap up this deep dive, we'll leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
The AI revolution is happening, and it's not just about the technology. It's about how we as individuals and as a society choose to navigate this completely uncharted territory.
Yeah. Will we harness its potential for good?
Right.
Will we make sure its benefits are shared by everyone?
The answers to those questions really depend on us.
So stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay engaged in this conversation.
Because the future of AI is a story we are all writing together.